Stop chasing love. Become someone worth loving first. Hey everyone, welcome to Learn Something Everyday channel where we talk, learn, and discover new things every single week. If you're curious about everything and wanting to have a little bit of information about everything, well, you are on the right channel because here we've got something for everyone. So stick around until the end cause I bet you don't want to miss every single detail of our topic for today. Yeah, stop chasing love. Become someone worth loving first. We live in a world obsessed with finding love. Apps, social media, advice columns. Everyone tells us to chase it, to search for it, to fight for it. But what if chasing love is exactly why it keeps slipping away? What if the first love you should focus on is yourself? Love, it's the feeling that inspires poetry, songs, and longing. It's the dream we chase, sometimes for our entire lives. But what happens when chasing love becomes a trap rather than a journey? Today we'll explore why so many of us chase love to feel emptiness, why this creates dependence and imbalance, and the behaviors that quietly sabotage our search for meaningful connection. Because before we can find love outside, we must first discover the love within. Section 1. People chase love to feel emptiness. The first trap is simple, yet profound. We often chase love to fill a void inside ourselves. We may feel lonely, unseen, unworthy, or incomplete. And in our search for connection, we imagine that another person will make us whole. We think, if only someone loved me, I would feel complete. If only someone noticed me, I would finally matter. But here's the truth. No one can feel your emptiness if you haven't learned to feel it yourself. Relying on another person to heal wounds, boost confidence, or validate your worth is a trap. The moment love feels conditional, the moment it depends on someone else's attention, we give away our power. Before seeking love from someone else, nurture love for yourself first. Self-worth is the foundation of all healthy relationships. Chapter 2. Chasing externally creates dependence and desperation. When love is pursued externally, it creates dependence. You start to measure your happiness, identity, and stability through the lens of someone else's actions. Desperation creeps in. You check your phone obsessively. You overthink every response. You become anxious when attention fades or when plans change. This is the danger. Chasing externally erodes your sense of self and produces unbalanced relationships. You may bend over backward to please someone who may not even prioritize your well-being. Healthy relationships are not built on anxiety, obligation, or fear. They are built on mutual respect, equality, and aligned values. When we chase love from outside, we sacrifice these essentials, often unknowingly. And this is how heartbreak becomes cyclical. Section 3. Common behaviors of chasing love. Let's get real. Chasing love shows up in behaviors you might not even notice. Texting too much. You send message after message, waiting for validation, every read receipt, Every delayed response becomes a trigger for anxiety. You lose clarity and calm, prioritizing their attention over your own peace of mind. Compromising values. You may say yes when you really mean no. You may tolerate behaviors, beliefs, or habits that clash with your core values just to keep the other person interested. Over time, this erodes your self respect. Ignoring red flags. We often rationalize warning signs. They're stressed. They just need time. Or I'll change them with my love. Chasing love clouds judgment. And we stay in situations that undermine our emotional safety. Ignoring personal growth. The most subtle, yet most damaging behavior is neglecting your growth. You stop reading, stop exercising, stop pursuing dreams or hobbies because energy and focus are spent on the other person. You lose touch with yourself, and your life begins to revolve around someone else instead of your own vision. Example, consider Alex, a young professional who spends nights messaging someone he barely knows. He skips networking events, avoids personal projects, and constantly worries about whether the person likes him back. 6 months later, he feels stuck, unfulfilled, and more anxious than ever. The relationship never materialized the way he hoped, but the lessons are clear. Chasing externally sabotages his growth and self-esteem. Chasing love without first nurturing your inner world doesn't lead to fulfillment. It leads to frustration, dependency, and repeated heartbreak. Section 4. The psychological impact of chasing love. Chasing love externally creates a psychological trap. You attach your sense of worth to approval, attention, and reciprocation. This creates anxiety, constantly worrying about their feelings or actions. Obsession, thinking of them at the expense of other priorities. Self-doubt, questioning your value when they don't respond the way you hope. The irony is that the more you chase, the further love seems to drift. Because love that is earned through desperation, validation seeking, or fear is fragile. It lacks the authenticity needed to thrive. Section 5. Shifting focus. Becoming someone worth loving. The alternative is deceptively simple. Stop chasing and start becoming. Be the person you would want to be loved by. Cultivate confidence. Trust in your own worth. Emotional stability. Manage your feelings independently. Interest and passions. A life full of purpose attracts meaningful connection. Integrity. Align actions with values and boundaries. When you focus on becoming the person worth loving, you don't need validation. Love naturally aligns with your energy. You are no longer dependent on someone else to feel complete. Life lesson from this: love follows growth, not the other way around. Section 6. The invisible transformation. Here's what happens when you embrace yourself first. You radiate confidence without arrogance. You establish boundaries without guilt. You enjoy the present without fear of loss. You attract relationships that respect and reflect your growth. The beauty is that this transformation is invisible at first. Friends may notice subtle changes, less anxiety, more energy, but the most important observer is yourself. Private growth builds public results organically. Example, Maya spent a year focusing on herself after a breakup. She took classes, built a morning routine, and traveled solo. She didn't chase anyone. Months later, someone entered her life who truly respected her independence, values, and confidence, something she never could have attracted by chasing love. Section 7. The journey begins with one decision. The first step is acknowledging the drop. Stop measuring worth through attention. Stop sacrificing growth for validation. Stop seeking love externally as a cure for emptiness. Instead, make a single, powerful decision to prioritize yourself, your values, and your growth. Every action, reflection, and habit that follows will be guided by this choice. And slowly, invisibly, your life will begin to shift. Stop chasing love. Start becoming someone worth loving. The love you seek will arrive, not as a reward, but as a reflection of the person you have chosen to become. The trap of chasing love is subtle, but it's real. External validation can never replace internal growth. Become someone who doesn't need to chase love. Become someone who naturally attracts it. Because when you love yourself first, everything else falls into place. Chasing love makes you reactive. You give your energy to someone else's validation instead of cultivating your own. Life lesson from this: love starts internally. The external search only matters once you're whole. Chapter 2: Why self-love is non-negotiable. Before we can find love in the arms of another, there is one relationship that must be prioritized: the one with ourselves. Self-love is more than affirmations, spa days, or social media posts showing happiness. True self-love runs deeper. It's the quiet strength that allows you to face your emotions, your mistakes, and your life without leaning on someone else for validation. Today we'll explore why self-love is non-negotiable, how it builds resilience, independence, and clarity, and why science proves that those who love themselves create healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Section 1: Defining self-love beyond surface-level concepts. Self-love is often misunderstood. Many believe it's simply pampering yourself, treating yourself occasionally, or repeating motivational quotes in front of the mirror. But true self-love is deep, consistent, and intentional. It is acceptance, seeing yourself fully, the strengths, the flaws, the mistakes, and saying, I am enough. Responsibility, taking ownership of your growth and actions instead of blaming others for your unhappiness. Commitment, dedicating time, energy, and attention to nurture your mental, emotional, and physical health. Without this foundation, every relationship we form will be unstable. We may seek love to mask insecurities. But these are temporary fixes. Self-love is permanent, internal, and transformative. Imagine two people in a relationship. One has not cultivated self-love and constantly seeks validation from their partner, feeling anxious if attention wavers. The other has a strong self-love and live with purpose and boundaries. Which relationship is likely healthier, more balanced, and fulfilling? The answer is obvious. Self-love is the cornerstone of a thriving partnership. Section 2: The core elements of self love. Self love isn't just a feeling, it's a set of practices, boundaries, and emotional skills that make you someone truly worth loving. First, emotional resilience. Self love allows you to process disappointments, rejection, and failure without spiraling into despair. You learn to acknowledge your emotions, sit with them, and respond intentionally instead of reacting impulsively. Second, independence. When you love yourself, you don't need someone else to complete you. Your happiness, identity, and confidence come from within. You can enjoy your own company, pursue passions, and thrive without external validation. Third, clarity. Self love gives you clarity about what you want and what you won't tolerate. You understand your values, your limits, and your desires. This clarity guides your choices in relationships and life in general. Fourth, boundaries. Loving yourself means saying no to what harms you, drains you, or distracts you from growth. You protect your energy and mental space, which in turn attracts relationships that respect and honor you. Example, Sarah used to tolerate emotionally distant partners because she feared being alone. After cultivating self love, she recognized her worth, set boundaries, and waited for someone who aligned with her values. Today, she is in a healthier, more balanced relationship, not because she changed someone else, but because she changed herself. Section 3, the science behind self love and healthy relationships. Science agrees. People who practice self love from healthier relationships, research in psychology shows attachment security. Individuals with high self esteem and self compassion tend to form secure attachments, experiencing less anxiety and jealousy in relationships. Emotional regulation. Self loving individuals are better at managing conflicts, communicating needs clearly, and responding more than reacting. Reduce codependency. Loving yourself reduces the risk of dependence on a partner for validation or happiness. Studies indicate that couples where both individuals exhibit self love are less likely to experience destructive patterns such as manipulation, excessive clinginess, or resentment. In short, loving yourself first doesn't just help you, it helps the people around you. Example, John struggled with codependency in every relationship. After learning self love practices, journaling, therapy, and consistent personal growth, he entered a partnership where both partners thrived independently, yet supported each other mutually. His relationships became healthier because his foundation was strong. Section 4, practical ways to cultivate self love. Self love is not an abstract concept, it's cultivated through daily actions and habits. Here are some practical ways. First, reflect daily. Spend 10 to 15 minutes journaling. What did you do well today? What challenged you? How can you nurture yourself tomorrow? Second, prioritize yourself. Set boundaries with time, energy, and people. Say no when necessary. Protect your mental space. Third, invest in growth. Read, learn, and pursue hobbies. Growth reinforces self worth and resilience. Fourth, practice self compassion. Treat yourself as kindly as you would a loved one. Mistakes are opportunities, not proofs of inadequacy. Fifth, celebrate small wins. Recognize effort, not just outcomes. Self love thrives on acknowledgement and appreciation for your own journey. Every small step compounds. Over time, these habits create a foundation where you no longer seek love to fill gaps. You attract it because you already embody it. Section 5: The transformation of loving yourself first. When you commit to self love, life begins to shift quietly but powerfully. Anxiety about relationships diminishes. Boundaries feel natural, not selfish. You notice red flags early and respond with clarity. You pursue meaningful partnerships, not convenient ones. You feel complete before love arrives. Self love changes the energy you radiate. It transforms the relationships you attract. It also transforms the most important relationship, the one with yourself. Life lesson from this: self love is non negotiable because without it, you chase love externally, remain dependent, and attract imbalance. With it, you become the person worth loving, and love naturally aligns with your life. Stop chasing love. Start cultivating it from within. Self love is your anchor, your compass, and your first true relationship. When you love yourself first, everything else, relationships, opportunities, joy, falls into place naturally, effortlessly, and sustainably. Self love is an indulgence, it's preparation. It's becoming the kind of person others can't help but respect, value, and cherish. Chapter 3: The Dangers of Seeking Validation. A person staring at their phone, refreshing messages, checking if someone viewed their story, waiting for someone to reply. The world outside is peaceful, but the inside is tense, restless. There is a specific type of loneliness that happens even when you are in a relationship. It's the kind that whispers, I don't feel enough unless they approve of me, unless they choose me, unless they love me. This is the silent trap of validation. And for many people, this is the real reason they chase love. Not because they're ready to give love, but because they're desperate to feel worthy. Today we will dive into why seeking validation is dangerous, how it builds to codependence, and why it creates emotional roller coasters that destroy your peace and sense of identity. Section 1: Seeking love as validation creates codependence. Let's begin with the harsh truth. Most people don't chase love, they chase validation. They want to feel chosen. They want someone to say they're worthy. They want to feel wanted, admired, or enough. But when love becomes a way to validate your existence, you slip into the trap of codependence. What is codependence? Codependence is when your emotional stability depends on someone else's mood, attention, affection, or approval. You feel good only when they say you're good. You feel loved only when they show love. Your identity becomes tied to how they treat you. You stop being a whole person and become a reflection of someone else's behavior. Signs you're seeking love for validation: you panic when someone doesn't text back immediately. You overthink their tone, replies, emojis, and lack of emojis. You feel unlovable when someone loses interest. You stay in relationships long after they become unhealthy because being alone feels scarier. You sacrifice your boundaries because you fear disappointing someone. These aren't signs of love. These are signs of emotional dependency. Example, Anna always needed reassurance from her boyfriend. If he didn't text good morning, her day felt ruined. If he was quiet, she assumed she did something wrong. If he didn't compliment her, she felt unattractive. Her entire emotional world shifted according to one person's behavior. That's not a love. That's emotional bondage. Why this happens? Because somewhere deep inside, Anna believed she wasn't enough on her own. She needed someone else to make her feel valuable. But love built on need, not desire, is fragile. If you need someone just to feel whole, you're not in love. You are emotionally dependent. Over reliance on external approval leads to heartbreak and low self esteem. Seeking validation outside yourself is like building your life on quicksand. When your sense of worth comes from someone else, you are constantly at risk. The moment they pull away, even a little, your self esteem collapses. Why relying on external validation is dangerous? First, people are inconsistent. Nobody can be your 24/7 emotional support line. People get busy, tired, stressed, distracted, or simply lose interest. If your worth depends on their attention, you'll always feel insecure. Second, you give others the power to define you. If someone compliments you, you feel beautiful. If they ignore you, you feel ugly. If they love you, you feel valuable. If they leave you, you feel worthless. Your identity becomes a mirror, always shifting depending on who stands in front of you. Third, it attracts emotionally manipulative partners. People who need validation often fall for love bombers. People who overwhelm them with affection at first, only to withdraw it later. Because that withdrawal hooks you deeper, making you chase harder. Fourth, it destroys boundaries. When you crave approval, you tolerate things you shouldn't, like disrespect, inconsistent communication, emotional neglect, false promises, broken boundaries, all because you fear losing the person who temporarily makes you feel worthy. Example, Carlos always dated people who treated him poorly. He wasn't weak, he was validation starved. Every breadcrumb of affection felt like gold. So he tolerated lies, mood swings, and emotional distance. Every time his partner apologized, he felt validated again. Every time they ignored him, he felt worthless again. His self esteem became a yo yo controlled by someone else's hands. This is the emotional damage of seeking validation instead of cultivating self love. Section 3, Emotional roller coasters caused by waiting for others to validate your worth. Let's talk about the emotional roller coaster. The highs and lows that come from needing someone else's approval. The highs, when they text, compliment you, or show affection, you feel euphoric, almost addicted. Your brain releases dopamine. It feels like a rush. The lows, when they get busy, take long to reply, sound cold, forget something important, prioritize something else, you crash emotionally. Your mind spirals. Are they bored? Did I do something wrong? Are they losing interest? Am I not enough? This is the emotional roller coaster, and that's exhausting. Why this happens scientifically? Psychologists call it intermittent reinforcement, the same mechanism used in gambling addiction. Random rewards create the strongest cravings because you never know when the next high is coming. When someone gives affection unpredictably, you become hooked on the uncertainty. How it destroys your peace. You can't focus on work. You lose passion for goals. You overthink every detail. You feel anxious and insecure. You become emotionally reactive, not grounded. Your entire world becomes small, reduced to the length of time between the messages or the tone of the affection. This is not love. This is psychological captivity. Example, Maria stayed in a relationship that made her anxious every day. When her partner was loving, she felt alive. When he pulled back, she felt like she was dying inside. The inconsistency kept her addicted. Years passed, and she didn't even notice how much of her identity she lost. The emotional roller coaster doesn't just waste time, it destroys your sense of self. Section 4. Why true love cannot come from validation? Here's the truth many avoid. If you need someone to validate your worth, you're not ready for a relationship. Because relationships built on validation turn into obsession, become controlling, create fear-based attachment, magnify insecurities, breed jealousy and paranoia, and in emotional exhaustion. True love is not built on needing someone, it's built on choosing someone. You cannot choose someone genuinely if you depend on them for your identity. Section 5. What happens when you stop seeking validation? When you build your worth internally, everything shifts. You stop begging for attention. You begin to expect respect, not crumbs. You spot red flags early. You walk away the first time someone shows emotional inconsistency. You attract healthier love because healthy people are drawn to confidence, independence, and emotional clarity. You become emotionally grounded. You no longer spiral when someone doesn't respond quickly. You rise above desperation. You stop chasing love. You start choosing it. You become someone worth loving, not because someone else said so, but because you finally believe it yourself. Section 6. A final powerful truth. Seeking validation is a silent addiction. Once you break it, you reclaim your peace, your confidence, and your identity. You stop being controlled by someone's attention. You stop waiting for permission to feel worthy. You stop giving others the power to define your value. You become whole, independent, emotionally strong, unshakable. And when you reach that point, love stops being something you chase. It becomes something that flows naturally towards you because you no longer depend on it to feel complete. Stop seeking validation. Start building self-worth because when you no longer need someone to prove you're enough, that's when truly meaningful love finally enters your life. If your happiness depends on someone else noticing you, you are giving away the power to feel whole. Real power comes when you decide, I am enough, I am worthy, I am complete. Life lesson from this: validation must come from self first. Otherwise, love is a trap. There comes a moment in every person's life when the exhaustion of chasing becomes louder than the desire to be loved. When the emotional burnout, the disappointment, the anxiety, and the self doubt finally force you to ask yourself, why am I running after people who were never running after me? This is the moment transformation begins. Because love, real, healthy, grounded love, was never meant to be chased. It was always meant to be attracted. And attraction doesn't start with them, it starts with you. First, the shift from chasing to attracting. Chasing is fueled by fear. Attracting is fueled by identity. Chasing sounds like, I hope they like me. I hope they choose me. What else can I do to keep them? What if they leave? Attracting sounds like, I know who I am. I know my value. I don't need to force what's meant for me. I choose people who choose me. See the difference? Chasing requires effort, anxiety, constant maintenance, and emotional performance. Attracting requires alignment. You don't chase love when you're aligned with your values, confident in your worth, and committed to your growth, because love naturally gravitates toward people who know who they are. Second, love is magnetized, not hunted. There is a universal human truth. You attract what you are ready for, not what you want, not what you fantasized about, not what you obsess over, not what you chase. You attract what your habits, mindset, energy, boundaries, and self perception. The reason chasing feels so exhausting is because you're trying to force something your life structure cannot naturally hold. Think of it like fishing with your bare hands in the middle of a storm. You might catch something, but you won't keep it. But when you build the right net, your character, your discipline, your emotional maturity, you don't need to chase. Love comes to you because it fits you. Third, attraction begins with emotional stability. Emotionally unstable people chase love. Emotionally grounded people attract it. Why? Because emotional stability communicates. I am not desperate. I don't need you to complete me. I'm not controlled by my fears. I can handle life on my own. This is magnetic. Human beings are naturally drawn toward people who regulate their emotions, express themselves honestly, know how to apologize, know how to calm themselves, and don't overreact or panic over small things. Attraction isn't about looking good, it's about being good at managing yourself. Emotional maturity is sexy. Emotional regulation is irresistible. When you can stay calm in conflict, communicate without attacking, listen without defensive, and give love without begging for it, people feel safe around you. And safety is one of the strongest forces of attraction in human psychology. Fourth, attraction requires boundaries that protect your worth. Let me tell you something most people don't realize. Boundaries make you attractive, not because they make you cold or distant, but because they show self respect. A person with boundaries says, I don't tolerate disrespect. I don't beg for attention. I won't shrink myself to be liked. I don't chase people. If you want access to me, you must show consistency. Imagine two people. Person A, no worries, it's fine, I understand. Take your time. Message me whenever. I don't want to lose you. Person B, I appreciate communication. If this continues, I'll need to step back. My peace matters. Which one is more attractive? Person B, always. Because clarity is attractive. Standards are attractive. Self-worth is attractive. When you don't enforce boundaries, you make yourself emotionally cheap. When you keep boundaries, you communicate emotional value. People are naturally drawn to those who value themselves. Fifth, becoming the person who attracts love requires identity work. Attraction isn't magic. It's architecture. It's who you become when nobody is watching. Let me ask you, who are you when you are alone? Are you someone who complains about being lonely but refuses to improve? Scrolls endlessly through social media comparing yourself to others? Waits around hoping someone will text first? Uses relationships to distract from personal emptiness? Or are you someone who works on your discipline, invests in your health, builds skills, grows emotionally, learns to enjoy solitude, builds a life you're proud of? Because love doesn't come to the lonely and empty. Love comes to the whole and grounded. People are attached to emotional intelligence, maturity, stability, ambition, authenticity, confidence, and peace. Your identity is your magnet. What you become determines what you attract. Sixth, when you stop chasing, you create space for the right people. Here is the hard truth you must accept. As long as you chase the wrong people, the right ones can't reach you. Chasing occupies your mind, your emotional bandwidth, your time, your energy, your potential. You can't grow when you're chasing. You can't heal when you're chasing. You can't see clearly when you're chasing. You can't build your future when you're chasing the past. Let me give you a painful but necessary truth. Sometimes the love you want is blocking the love you deserve. Walking away from someone who doesn't value you isn't losing love. It's creating space for real love to enter. Seventh, the quiet power of becoming unreactively attractive. Unreactive attraction means you don't panic if someone takes long to reply. You don't beg for reassurance. You don't overcompensate. You don't chase validation. You don't crumble when someone isn't interested. Why? Because you are rooted in self-worth. When you become unreactively attractive, your silence becomes powerful. Your absence becomes meaningful. Your standards become magnetic. Your presence becomes rare. Your energy becomes precious. People feel the difference between someone chasing love and someone who embodies love. 8. Love is drawn to people who have a life of their own. This is one of the biggest truths of attraction. The more you build your life, the more desirable you become. Not because of status, not because of wealth, not because of looks, but because people are drawn to those who have purpose, feel fulfilled, enjoy their life, have things happening, have interest and passion, are not leaning on someone else to feel alive. A full life signals one thing: I don't need you, I choose you. And psychologically, people value what is chosen, not what is dependent. Your hobbies matter, your growth matters, your discipline matters, your routine matters, your passions matter. They all make you more attractive because they make you more complete. Ninth, you attract love when you become emotionally self sufficient. Let me be brutally honest here. The most attractive people aren't the hottest, wealthiest, or most charismatic. They are the emotionally self sufficient. People who don't ask for love, they radiate it. People who don't beg for attention, they command it. People who don't fear abandonment, they walk away when needed. People who aren't afraid of being alone, they choose relationships from strength, not fear. This is the core principle. Love flows naturally to people who don't cling to it. You attract love when love is something you feel within yourself, not something you scrape from others. Tenth, the transformation. You stop needing love, and love finds you. Here is the paradox of life. The moment you stop needing love is the moment you begin attracting the right kind of love. Not because you're playing hard to get, not because you're acting distant, not because you're pretending not to care, but because you are finally enough for yourself, grounded, secure, healed, focused, stable, disciplined, and whole. Healthy love recognizes healthy energy. Stable partners seek stable partners. Emotionally intelligent people want emotionally intelligent companions. When you grow, you rise into a new level of relationships. Ones you don't need to chase because they walk toward you on their own. Stop running after people. Stop fighting to be seen. Stop exhausting yourself for inconsistent love. Instead, become the person who attracts love by being the person you yourself would want to love. People will feel your transformation, even if they never see the work behind it. Chapter 5. Become the person worth loving. There is a turning point in every person's life when they finally realize that love isn't something you hunt down, bargain for, or force. It's something you attract naturally, quietly, powerfully, by becoming the kind of person who glows from the inside out. You stop asking, how can I make someone love me? And instead start asking, how can I become someone who loves deeply, fully, and healthy, whether someone chooses me or not? This is the chapter where the story shifts. This is where chasing ends and becoming begins. Because the truth is simple. You can control who chooses you, but you can control who you become. And who you become determines the quality of love you attract. To become someone worth loving doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means becoming whole, emotionally balanced, mentally clear, physically healthy, and spiritually grounded. It means standing to yourself as if you are someone you are responsible for loving. Love grows in people who grow. Love stays with people who stay consistent. And love thrives in people who understand that the relationship they have with themselves sets the tone for every relationship they build. Here's are the four major habits that turn you into someone worth loving. Not because you are seeking love, but because you are finally learning to love yourself in your actions, not just your intentions. First, emotional intelligence, the foundation of healthy love. Emotional intelligence is the difference between relationships that heal and relationships that harm. It is a skill that turns chaos into connection and misunderstanding into intimacy. Emotionally intelligent people understand their feelings instead of being controlled by them, communicate instead of explode or shut down, take responsibility instead of shifting blame, listen with intention, not ego, self-soothe instead of expecting others to fix them. This skill alone makes you extraordinarily attractive, not because it's flashy, but because it's rare. Most people want love but haven't learned how to handle emotions, neither their own nor someone else's. They want connection without vulnerability, loyalty without communication, intimacy without honesty. But when you develop emotional intelligence, you become safer to love, easier to trust, more stable, more peaceful, more compassionate. You stop reacting out of wounds and start responding out of understanding. Why EQ makes you worth loving? Because emotional intelligence helps you avoid the three biggest relationship killers: unmanaged anger, poor communication, fear based reactions. People with EQ don't chase love, they create emotionally safe environments where love grows naturally. EQ in action and how to build it. First, pause before reacting. Second, name your emotions. I feel because. Third, be curious instead of defensive. Fourth, listen to understand, not to win. Fifth, ask yourself, what does this feeling need? EQ makes you magnetic, not because you become perfect, but because you become emotionally reliable, something far more valuable. Second, personal growth and skill building, leveling up your identity. The most attractive people are not the ones who chase love. They are the ones who chase growth. Because growth creates confidence. Confidence creates presence. Presence creates attraction. When your identity expands, your life expands. And when your life expands, your standards expand. And suddenly, the love you used to chase no longer interests you. Personal growth means learning new skills, becoming more capable, taking on new challenges, discovering what excites you, creating a life you're proud of. Growth makes you interesting. Growth makes you self-sufficient. Growth makes you someone who adds value instead of asking for it. Why growth makes you worth loving? Because love is easier to build with someone who has passions, has goals, has direction, has discipline, has a life outside the relationship. Personal growth prevents you from becoming clingy or dependent. It strengthens your identity so that you don't fall apart every time someone disappoints you. Skill building that elevates you: financial literacy, communication, leadership, time management, creativity, problem solving, self discipline. People who grow attract partners who also grow. People who stagnate attracts chaos, boredom, and cycles. Love follows momentum. When you grow, you become the kind of person who inspires growth in others, and that is deeply attractive. Third, physical and mental health. Caring for the vessel that carries you. Healthy people love differently because they live differently. And while looks aren't everything, how you care for yourselves is a massive reflection of your self worth. Taking care of your health is not vanity, it's responsibility. Physical health, what it says about you. You value yourself. You honor your body. You have discipline. You are capable of long term commitment. These qualities show up in relationships too. When you improve your physical health, sleep, food, exercise, you naturally elevate your mood, energy, and confidence. Mental health, what it contributes to love, emotional balance, clarity, resilience, patience, self control. Healthy love can't grow from an unhealthy mind. So when you invest in your mental health through therapy, journaling, healing trauma, building routines, you make yourself easier to love and easier to live with. Why health makes you worth loving? Because you can't build a stable relationship on a foundation of chaos. Mental and physical health give you stability, consistency, self-awareness, inner peace. When you show up healthy, you protect the relationship and the person you love from unnecessary emotional storms. Health is one of the greatest acts of self-love, and it radiates into every part of your life. Fourth, mindset of abundance, not scarcity. Scarcity mindset says, if I don't chase love, I'll lose it. If someone doesn't want me, it means I'm not good enough. I must prove I deserve love. This mindset leads to desperation, fear, jealousy, and attachment. Abundance mindset says, if love lives, I remain whole. I don't fear losing someone who doesn't value me. There are many people who can love me, and I only need one right one. I'm not chasing love, I'm choosing wisely. Abundance makes you calm. Calmness makes you attractive. Attractiveness makes you magnetic. Why abundance makes you worth loving? Because people can feel when you're not operating out of fear. Scarcity energy repels love, clinginess, overthinking, insecurity, emotional neediness. Abundance energy attracts love, confidence, peace, patience, self-respect. When you shift from I need them to I choose me, you naturally attract people who also choose you without hesitation. Love flows to people who don't fear losing it. Example, the woman who stopped begging and started building. Maria spent years chasing emotionally unavailable partners. She would text too much, try too hard, and abandon herself just to feel chosen. Everything changed when she decided to stop dating for 6 months and focus on therapy, fitness, learning digital skills, improving her emotional boundaries. The transformation was dramatic. Suddenly, she wasn't attracted to toxic people anymore. She didn't chase them. She didn't collapse when someone didn't message back. For the first time, she felt worthy. And because of that, She naturally attracted a partner who valued her, not because she hunted for love, but because she became someone who didn't need to. Example 2. The man who thought love would fix him. Daniel believed that a girlfriend would solve his loneliness, boredom, and lack of purpose. But the relationships kept failing because he had no identity outside of them. So he changed his approach. He focused on building a career, improving his discipline, managing his emotions, rediscovering habits he used to love. When he became fulfilled on his own, something interesting happened. He stopped looking for someone to fix him. He stopped settling. He stopped begging for attention. And that confidence made him far more attractive than anything he ever did to impress women before. Example 3. The person who healed mentally before loving again. Lisa had anxiety that sabotaged every relationship she entered. She overthought, panicked, and constantly feared abandonment. Finally, she paused dating and focused on therapy, meditation, journaling, learning emotional regulation, surrounding herself with healthier friendships. 6 months later, she felt emotionally stable for the first time in her life. Her next relationship lasted, not because she found a perfect partner, but because she showed up as a healthy version of herself. Her growth created space for healthy love. Example 4. The individual who chose abundance over scarcity. Larry used to chase anyone who showed him attention. He feared being alone so much that he accepted bare minimum behavior. One day he realized being alone is better than being half loved. He shifted his mindset to abundance and walked away from relationships that drained him. Instead of fearing loneliness, he embraced it as growth. 6 months later, he attracted a partner who valued him deeply, not because he chased, but because he became someone who refused to settle. The truth, love isn't chased, it's drawn to you. When you focus on emotional intelligence, personal growth, physical and mental health, an abundant mindset, you stop pursuing love from a place of fear. You start attracting love from a place of strength. People can feel the difference between someone who needs love and someone who chooses love. Love grows naturally with someone who is grounded, confident, self-aware, evolving, emotionally mature. And when you become that person, you don't fear losing love. You simply trust that the right one will stay because you're building something real. Final message. Become. Don't chase. The best love stories start with the person who decided to grow. Not for someone else, but for themselves. You become someone worth loving when you heal, grow, expand, invest in yourself, build habits that reflect self-respect. Love isn't found in the pursuit. Love is found in the becoming. When you become the best version of yourself, you attract the best people for your life, effortlessly, peacefully, naturally. Stop chasing. Start becoming. Start attracting. When you stop chasing, you start building. When you focus on your life, your happiness, your growth, your value, love finds you effortlessly. Not because you're lucky, but because you've become someone truly magnetic. Chapter 6. Healing from Past Relationships. Stop chasing love. Become someone worth loving first. Before you can attract the kind of love you dream about, you have to face a truth that most people avoid. You cannot build a healthy relationship on top of old wounds. You can try, you can pretend you're okay, you can distract yourself with new connections, new flirtations, or quick replacement relationships. But emotional baggage has a way of resurfacing quietly, subtly, and eventually painfully. Unhealed wounds show up in your tone, your fears, your trust issues, your defensiveness, your overthinking, your jealousy, your inability to receive love, or your desperation for it. Healing from past relationships isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about understanding it, releasing the weight of it, and reclaiming yourself. This chapter is not about healing in public or proving that you're moving on. This is about healing privately, deeply, because real healing isn't loud. It's personal, internal, and sacred. First, carrying emotional baggage keeps you from being worth loving. Most people don't realize how much their past relationships shape their present behaviors. But unhealed emotional pain doesn't disappear just because time passes. It stays inside you, shaping your habits, expectations, and beliefs. Emotional baggage looks like expecting abandonment because someone else left, becoming clingy because someone once ignored you, becoming emotionally cold because you were once betrayed, assuming the worst because you've been disappointed, punishing a new partner for someone else's mistakes. This baggage blocks love, not because you're unworthy, but because you're unavailable. Imagine trying to pour water into a cracked cup. No matter how much someone gives you attention, affection, reassurance, you can't hold it. It drains out through old wounds. Emotional baggage keeps you stuck in cycles. You attract the same type of partners. You repeat the same patterns. You choose people who match your wounds, not your worth. Healing isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming clear. Clear enough to see what you deserve. Clear enough to walk away from what hurts. Clear enough to recognize real love when it appears. Unhealed people chase love. Healed people attract it. Second, steps to process past heartbreak privately. Healing is a private journey. You don't announce it. You don't perform it. You don't heal for someone else to notice. You heal for you, quietly, consistently, gently. Here are the most powerful tools for processing heartbreak privately. First, journaling. Emptying what you've been carrying. Writing allows you to release emotions that have been trapped inside you for years. It creates clarity. It helps you connect dots. It lets you observe your own story instead of reliving it. You can journal what happened, how it made you feel, what beliefs you developed because of it, what you learned, what you need to let go. Journaling is powerful because the mind will replay stories endlessly, but when you put them on paper, they stop controlling you. You may start with, what did I need from that relationship that I never received? What pain am I still holding on to? What false beliefs about myself were created by that heartbreak? What would healing look like for me? Journaling becomes a mirror. It always allows you to confront the truth with compassion, not judgment. Second, reflection. Understanding patterns and lessons. Reflection is different from rumination. Rumination means repeating the pain. Reflection means learning from it. When you reflect, you ask mature, honest questions. Why did I choose this person? What unmet needs or insecurities drew me into this relationship? What patterns did I ignore? How did I abandon myself? What will I do differently next time? This is where emotional intelligence grows. You stop blaming others and start understanding yourself. Reflection turns heartbreak into wisdom. Wisdom turns pain into power. Third, therapy. Professional support for deep wounds. Some pain is too heavy to carry alone. Some wounds run deeper than personal tools can reach. That's where therapy becomes transformative. Therapy gives you guidance, clarity, emotional structure, coping tools, a safe space to release trauma. A trained expert who helps you untangle your story. You don't need to wait until you're broken to seek therapy. Therapy is not for the weak, it's for the self aware. Investing in therapy is a powerful act of self love because it shows you're willing to understand and upgrade the emotional patterns you've been stuck in. Even just a few sessions can change the directions of your emotional life. Fourth, meditation. Letting your heart breathe again. Meditation teaches you to calm your nervous system, regulate overwhelming emotions, detach from intrusive thoughts, reconnect with your inner peace, break patterns of overthinking. Heartbreak triggers the brain to crave answers, closure, or reassurance. But meditation helps you see it with discomfort without letting it define you. It teaches emotional neutrality, not coldness, not suppression, but calm presence. You learn to observe your pain without becoming your pain. You learn to let emotions pass instead of letting them control you. Meditation is healing because it brings you back to yourself, gently and quietly. The importance of forgiveness of self and others. Forgiveness is not about excusing what someone did. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional prison their actions created. Holding on to pain doesn't protect you, it poisons you. It becomes the voice in your head that tells you, don't trust again. Don't open up. You're not enough. Everyone will leave. Forgiveness is not a gift to them. It's a gift to you. There are two forms of forgiveness you need to embrace. First, forgiving others, letting go of the story. You forgive not because they deserve it. When you forgive others, you're not saying, it didn't hurt. It was okay. You were right. But you are saying, I will not carry this anymore. You will not control my heart. My healing matters more than my anger. Forgiveness dissolves emotional baggage. It closes the chapter with maturity and strength. You don't need to reconnect. You don't need to talk again. Forgiveness happens inside you, not between you. Forgiving yourself, the hardest, most important step. Self-forgiveness is often more painful than forgiving others because it requires honesty. It means facing where you stayed too long, accepted too little, ignored red flags, abandoned your boundaries, trusted too quickly, lost yourself, confused trauma for love. But you cannot become someone worth loving until you release the shame and regret you've been carrying. You forgive yourself because you didn't know better at the time. You were operating from wounds, not wisdom. You were trying, even if imperfectly. You needed to learn what you now understand. Self forgiveness is freedom. It rewrites your relationship with yourself. Healing makes you more worth loving. People often think that healing makes them harder to love. They fear becoming too guarded, too aware, too selective. But healing makes you emotionally stable, clear about your boundaries, better at communication, less reactive, more compassionate, more self respecting, more grounded. Healthy people attract healthier love. Healing is not about becoming harder, it's about becoming wiser. It's not about distrust, it's about discernment. It's not about isolation, it's about intention. When you heal, you stop chasing chaos. You stop confusing intensity for intimacy. You stop settling for people who cannot meet you at the level you deserve. Healing elevates your standards. Healing protects your future. Healing prepares you to love and be loved in ways you've never experienced before. When you heal, you break the cycle. Healing from past relationships isn't just about the past. It affects your entire future. Unhealed heartbreak leads to repeating toxic cycles, attracting unhealthy partners, self sabotage, insecurity driven attachment styles. But healed people choose better, communicate better, set boundaries, trust themselves, recognize red flags early, protect their energy, honor their own value. Healing transforms your patterns, not just your heart. And once you bridge the gap between who you were and who you are becoming, you stop chasing love entirely. You begin attracting love that is stable, mature, reciprocal, gentle, healthy, emotionally safe, because you have become emotionally safe within yourself. Final message: healing is your responsibility, not your punishment. Healing is not punishment for choosing the wrong person. Healing is the path back to yourself. You didn't fail because the relationship ended. You didn't lose because someone hurt you. You didn't break because you loved deeply. Pain doesn't make you unworthy, but ignoring your pain keeps you from becoming the person you were meant to be. Healing is the bridge between your past and your potential. You heal so you can love again, not recklessly, but consciously, not desperately, but wholeheartedly, not from emptiness, but from fullness. Most importantly, before you love others fully, you must be able to love yourself in spite of past pain. Every scar, every heartbreak, every mistake is a lesson guiding you to the person you're becoming. Healing makes you someone who no longer chases love, because you have finally become someone worth loving first. Chapter 7: Creating Magnetic Energy. Stop chasing love. Become someone worth loving first. There's a moment in everyone's life when they finally understand something powerful. Love doesn't come from chasing. Love comes from becoming. Not becoming perfect, not becoming impressive, not becoming someone else, but becoming someone aligned, grounded, at peace with themselves. That's what magnetic energy is. Some people walk into a room and instantly attract attention, not because they're the most attractive or the loudest, but because something about them feels complete. They radiate confidence, presence, calmness, and self worth. They don't try to impress. They don't try to win love. They don't try to be chosen. They simply are, and their energy pulls people toward them effortlessly. This chapter is about understanding that energy, developing it, strengthening it, and using it to transform the way you experience relationships. Because the truth is, your energy, not your looks, not your clothes, not your relationship status, is what determines what and who you attract. Number one, the concept of energy in relationships. People misunderstand the word energy. They think it's some mystical force or magical aura. But in reality, your energy is simply the emotional, mental, and social signals you send into the world, consciously and unconsciously. And whether you realize it or not, people feel your energy before they understand your personality. Let's break it down. First, emotional energy. Your emotional energy is the atmosphere you carry around you. Are you calm or chaotic, confident or insecure, hopeful or bitter, open or guarded, loving or fearful? Even without speaking, people pick up on it. Your facial expressions, your body language, your tone, your presence, all of these are emotional signals. For example, someone who always expects abandonment often gives off a nervous, clingy energy. Someone who feels unworthy might shrink themselves or avoid eye contact. Someone who values themselves stands tall, speaks clearly, and doesn't apologize for existing. People sense this instantly. Emotional energy determines how safe, attractive, and trustworthy you appear to others. If your emotional energy is rooted in neediness, desperation, or emptiness, you attract people who thrive on that imbalance. If your emotional energy is grounded and calm, you'll attract people who respect and value you. Second, mental energy. Mental energy refers to the thoughts you feed your mind. These thoughts shape your worldview, your emotional reactions, and your behavior. For example, if you constantly think, "No one will ever love me," your actions will reflect insecurity. If you think, "I'm never enough," you'll settle for less and accept mistreatment. If you believe, "Good things happen to me," you'll naturally carry hope and confidence. Your mental energy shapes your standards. It shapes what you tolerate, what you believe you deserve, and how you approach relationships. Healthy mental energy creates emotional stability, and healthy mental energy creates chaos. Third, social energy. Social energy is the vibe you bring into your interactions. It includes your openness, your boundaries, your humor, your authenticity, your communication style. Some people bring warm, inviting energy that makes others feel safe. Some bring cold, guarded energy that pushes people away. Some bring chaotic energy that exhausts those around them. Some bring grounded energy that calms others. Your social energy is also shaped by your habits. Do you gossip? Do you complain constantly? Do you overtalk or overshare? Do you listen? Do you judge others? Do you respect boundaries? Social energy creates the connection people feel with you, not just romantically, but in friendships, family, and work. People with balanced social energy attract others because they make others feel good being around them. Number two, confident, happy, independent people naturally attract love. People often say love will come when you're not looking. This doesn't mean love magically appears once you stop wanting it. It means love appears when you stop needing it. Because when you don't need love to feel whole, you become magnetic. Here's why. First, confidence is attractive because it represents emotional safety. Confidence isn't about arrogance or loudness. It's about knowing your worth, respecting your boundaries, and trusting your decisions. People are drawn to confident individuals because confidence says, I know who I am. I'm emotionally stable. I won't rely on you to fix me. I bring value. This is magnetic. Confidence creates attraction because it creates safety. Second, happiness is attractive because it feels safe and inviting. People who are genuinely happy attract love because they aren't draining, demanding, or emotionally exhausting. Imagine the difference between someone who is always complaining, comparing, or seeking validation versus someone who is grateful, content, and positive about life. Which one do you naturally want to be around? Happiness, real, grounded happiness, makes your presence warm and desirable. People want to be part of energy that feels light, supportive, and stable. Third, independence is attractive because it's rare. Independence doesn't mean emotional isolation. It means you're stable. You're founded by your own purpose. You have your own identity. You don't rely on a partner for emotional survival. Your life is full even before love arrives. Independence signals, I want you, but I don't need you. And that is magnetic. Dependence suffocates love. Independence fuels it. People who are independent attract partners who respect them, admire them, and match their energy. Number three, stop chasing. Start radiating. Chasing love pushes people away. Radiating love pulls people in. Let's break down the difference. Chasing energy comes from scarcity. Chasing looks like texting too much, begging for attention, trying to impress, accepting bare minimum, ignoring red flags, overthinking every interaction, losing yourself for someone else. Chasing communicates, I'm not enough. I need you to complete me. Nothing kills attraction faster. People feel when you're trying too hard. It creates pressure, discomfort, and emotional imbalance. Chasing energy comes from fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of being rejected. Fear of not being loved. Fear repels love. Radiating energy comes from abundance. Radiating means being comfortable in your skin, being grounded and emotionally stable, being full instead of empty, being confident without arrogance, having a purpose beyond relationships, having a life outside your crush or partner, giving without expecting, loving without begging, Radiating communicates, I am whole, and I choose carefully. People feel this warmth, confidence, and calmness. It's attractive because it's rare. You stop chasing because you finally know your value. You start radiating because you built yourself up internally. Radiating energy doesn't demand attention, it attracts it naturally. How to build radiating magnetic energy? Here are practical steps. First, nourish your inner world. Meditate, journal, rest, reflect. A peaceful mind creates peaceful presence. Second, become emotionally self sufficient. Learn to regulate your emotions without relying on others. Third, develop your identity. Find hobbies, goals, passions, and interests that make you feel alive. Fourth, set powerful boundaries. Respect yourself enough to walk away from disrespect. Fifth, build a fulfilling life. Friendships, career, health, spirituality. Create wholeness within yourself. Sixth, practice gratitude. It elevates your emotional energy and makes you more attractive. Seventh, stop seeking validation. Trust your own worth instead of measuring it through others. Magnetic energy comes from becoming someone who loves themselves deeply and authentically. Number 4, the shift from desperation to attraction. Here's the truth. People don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with presence. They fall in love with people who are comfortable being themselves, know what they want, carry emotional calmness, respect themselves, communicate clearly, don't run from conflict, don't rely on others for happiness. This shift from chasing to radiating completely changes the type of relationships you attract. When you chase love, you get love that runs. When you radiate love, you get love that stays. Final message: you become magnetic when you become whole. Magnetic energy isn't about pretending to be confident. It's not about faking happiness or being stronger than you feel. It's about becoming someone who is emotionally, mentally, and socially aligned. A person who is full within themselves. This chapter is your reminder. Love flows effortlessly toward people who already love themselves. Stop chasing love. Stop chasing people. Stop chasing validation. Start cultivating the energy, the calmness, the confidence, the presence, the happiness, the independence that naturally attracts the kind of love you deserve. When you become someone worth loving, love finds you. Love chooses you. Love stays with you. Because you're no longer searching for love to complete you. You're radiating the kind of love that completes others. Magnetism is not about looks or status. It's about presence, confidence, and wholeness. Love comes not when you chase, but when you glow with authenticity. Chapter 8: The Daily Habits of a Person Worth Loving. Consistency builds character. Character builds confidence. Confidence attracts love. Becoming someone worth loving is not about being perfect. It's not about having the ideal body, a flawless personality, or a life that looks good on Instagram. It's about becoming the kind of human being whose presence feels grounding, inspiring, warm, and emotionally safe. Most people chase love by trying to impress others, but a person worth loving builds love from the inside out every single day. It's not a dramatic makeover. It's not a one time transformation. It's built quietly through consistent habits that shape emotional maturity, self awareness, resilience, and confidence. Habits form identity. Identity shapes relationships. In this chapter, we explore the daily practices that transform you from someone who chases love into someone who naturally attracts it. First, morning rituals for self reflection. If you don't set your tone for the day, the world will set it for you. Most people wake up and immediately react, check their phone, read messages, scroll social media, absorb others' moods. But a person worth loving begins the day with themselves, not the outside world. Morning reflection is powerful because it grounds your emotions before life has a chance to overwhelm you. It connects you to your sense of purpose, clarity, and emotional stability. Why it matters in love. People who reflect in the morning regulate emotions better, communicate with more clarity, are less reactive and needy, make decisions based on values, not impulses, hold boundaries with confidence. When your mind is centered, your relationships become healthier. Simple morning rituals worth adopting. First, sit with yourself for 5 minutes. Breathe deeply. Notice your thoughts without reacting to them. This builds emotional control, one of the most attractive traits of a person can have. Second, ask yourself two grounding questions. What emotional state do I want to bring into today? What do I need to feel grounded and peaceful today? You train yourself to be self aware, not dependent on external validation. Third, a quick gratitude list. Not a cheesy one, a real one. Gratitude shifts your mindset from lacking to abundant, the foundation of self love. Fourth, set one intention for your personal growth, not for work, not for others, for you. For example, today I will respond calmly, not react emotionally. Today I will affirm myself instead of seeking validation. These small practices build emotional maturity over time. Number two, exercise and physical care. Your body is the home your soul lives in. Maintain it with respect. Physical care is not about aesthetics or impressing anyone. It's about discipline, vitality, confidence, and self respect. When you take care of your body, you send yourself a powerful message. I matter. My health matters. My life matters. That message radiates in your energy, presence, and relationships. Why it matters in love? People who care for their physical well being have higher self esteem, are less anxious and insecure, communicate better, carry themselves with natural confidence, are more emotionally stable, tend to choose healthier partners. Your physical health affects your emotional health, and emotional health affects your relationships. What physical care looks like daily. Move your body. Walk, stretch, lift, weight, dance, anything. Movement increases dopamine and serotonin, the feel good chemicals that reduce emotional neediness. Eat like someone who loves themselves, not restrictive dieting, real nourishment. Food that fuels you, not punishes or numbs you. Sleep like your sanity depends on it, because it actually does. Lack of sleep put your brain into fear, anxiety, and heighten emotional reactivity. Groom yourself intentionally. Looking good for yourself is not vanity, it's emotional hygiene. A well cared for body tells the world you honor yourself, and this naturally attracts respect and admiration. Learning and a growth mindset. A stagnant mind creates stagnant relationships. People who chase love often put all their effort into being chosen instead of becoming someone who continuously evolves. But attractive, magnetic people are always learning, improving, becoming. Growth is attractive, stagnation is not. Why it matters in love? People with a growth mindset have meaningful conversations, handle conflict better, are curious, open minded, and emotionally flexible. Don't fall into codependent patterns. Inspire the people around them. Stay interesting and dynamic. You become a source of inspiration, not a source of emotional weight. Simple ways to cultivate growth daily. Read something every day, every 10 minutes. It expands your mind, vocabulary, emotional insights, worldview. Consume content that uplifts you. Podcasts, videos, books, anything that sharpens your character instead of dulling it. Reflect on one lesson daily. Ask yourself, what did today teach me about myself? People who learn from life grow faster than those who wait for change to hit them. Try new things regularly. New skills, new habits, new experiences. Confidence grows through challenge and exploration. A life full of growth naturally attracts partners who are growing too. Number 4, setting boundaries, the habit of self respect. The most attractive people are the ones who don't beg for love. Boundaries are not walls, they are instructions on how to treat you. Without boundaries, you become overly available, insecure, dependent, resentful, easily manipulated, drained, desperate for love. With boundaries, you become confident, respected, emotionally safe, selective, self assured, powerful. Here's the daily boundary setting habits. First, say no without apologizing excessively. No, I can't. I'm not available. I'm not comfortable with that. Short, simple, firm. Second, don't explain yourself to everyone. People worth loving don't waste energy justifying their decisions. Third, protect your emotional space. You don't have to absorb everyone's stress, drama, or opinions. Fourth, prioritize your peace. Walk away from mixed signals, inconsistency, manipulation, disrespect, relationships that cost your self worth. Boundaries increase attraction because they signal strength, independence, and self value. Number 5, engaging in meaningful relationships. You attract love better when your life is already full of love. Romantic desperation often comes from lack of meaningful connections outside relationships. When you feel lonely, you cling to anyone who shows interest, even if they're wrong for you. But when you are surrounded by supportive, uplifting, emotionally healthy people, you don't settle, you don't chase, you don't beg. Here's the daily habits to strengthen meaningful connection. First, maintain friendships with intention. Reach out, check in, celebrate others, listen deeply. Second, seek mentors. People who inspire you, people who see your potential, people who hold you accountable. This accelerates your emotional growth. Third, spend time with people who reflect the qualities you want. You become like the people you surround yourself with. Fourth, limit exposure to draining, negative people. Protect your energy at all costs. Your inner circle determines your emotional baseline. A person worth loving is socially rich, not lonely, desperate, or dependent on a romantic partner for all emotional needs. Number 6, spending time alone intentionally. If you can't enjoy your own company, you will seek love for the wrong reasons. Most people fear being alone, but emotionally mature people master it. Solitude is where self-awareness is born. It is where wounds heal. It is where identity strengthens. It is where confidence forms. People who spend time alone intentionally are calm, independent, grounded, and secure. Why solitude makes you more attractive? You don't cling to people. You don't demand constant reassurance. You don't settle out of loneliness. You don't lose yourself in relationships. You become emotionally self sufficient. Here's the daily solitude practices. Eat alone without distraction sometimes. Taste your food. Be present. Observe your thoughts. Take silent walks. Walking alone clears emotional noise and strengthens clarity. Journal your thoughts, especially fears, insecurities, dreams, and insights. Reflect on your desires. What kind of partner do you want? What kind of partner do you want to be? What kind of life are you building? Solitude roots you. Relationships built on rootedness last longer. The transformation. How daily habits make you attractive without trying. When you live with intention, care, self respect, and emotional maturity, you become calmer, more confident, more self assured, less reactive, more secure, more focused, more compassionate, more selective. People begin to feel safe around you, inspired by you, drawn to your energy, curious about you, impressed by your discipline. You no longer need to chase love, you attract it effortlessly. Final message. Love becomes easy when you become a person who loves themselves daily. Daily habits are not small things. They are the foundation of your identity. And your identity determines the quality of love you give and receive. Stop waiting for someone to choose you. Choose yourself every morning. Choose your growth. Choose your peace. Choose your worth. Love will follow effortlessly. These habits aren't glamorous, they aren't trendy, but they are powerful. They build self-worth quietly. So when love arrives, you're ready to receive it fully. Alright, if you had fun listening to this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button as well as the bell button for you to get notified whenever I posted a new video. And also share the good vibes and don't forget to drop a comment. What are your thoughts about this topic? And what are your biggest takeaways from tuning in to this channel? And lastly, what do you want to talk about next? Thank you and see you on the next video. Bye-bye.